Marie Marchand. I'm Cree Metis from Cold Lake First Nations. I'm an artist. We're at Blue Horse Gallery and Studio. So my Cree name is Amiskwaciwâskahikan, Blue Horse Spirit Woman. And I can honestly say that I have not met anybody who's walked in the door and didn't say, wow, this is beautiful. This was my mother's first carving.
What?
Yeah, my mother was a carver. Original pieces by Caitlin Arcand. This is Rihanna Savard. She's from Lac St. Anne. She also lives in Edmonton. She's a teacher at Enoch. When you have a piece of really stellar Indigenous art in your place, in your home, somewhere where you can see it, it just brings you so much. It just fills you. It just does. Mm-hmm. It's not just something hanging over your couch. It's something that really means and sings, and especially if it's based on oral history and stuff like that, then you've got something that will remind you, and you can talk to your kids about, and pass on oral history through. There we go. I'm feeding these ribbons through, and what these ribbons are, to me, what they're representing is that idea of ceremony. And certain ceremonies, when you're finished the ceremony, they'll cut ribbons and they'll give you ribbons as a gift. So that's what I'm trying to put myself towards here, is the idea that when you look at this particular piece, you look at the beadwork and the work that's on the piece. This is the story of Thunderbird and how he was created. Mother Earth created him to help her to carry water throughout the earth. So that's what the symbolism is at the bottom. Here she is, and creating him, and here he is pouring the liquid throughout the earth. I think I'm really excited because I am the designer in residence for Punctuate Theatre for 2022, and I'm thrilled about that. I'm absolutely thrilled because visual artists aren't usually given that opportunity to go into, we've done installations, you and I have done installations, and some of them were pretty large, like take up a whole city block large. But, to go into a theater space, and how I'm approaching it is from this visual arts perspective, where I want to take them into a Marie Marchand painting for an entire experience. And that means adding to those technical knowledges that I have for installation, but then also adding that theater component and seeing how my artwork marries to an entire genre that is different than my own personal artwork. Yeah, oh man, I'm like stoked about it. I decided to model my living space after my grandfather's one-room cabin that he lived in. He lived in this one-room cabin on my grandmother's property, and so everything was like apple crates on the walls and stuff like that. So that's what I've done. I've just created this space where everything's kind of accessible, and it's just cluttered into that one section over there. What does it mean to have an Indigenous space? What does that look like? What does that feel like? I think it's really important that Indigenous artists create and hold space for other Indigenous artists, because nobody else is really going to understand your work or the struggle that you've had even just to create work sometimes, other than an Indigenous artist. This piece is Colleen Cardinal. Jerry LaPlante from Three Hills. So I think we really, amongst ourselves, really need to start pushing and recognizing our own histories, our own history of art in our own communities, so that we can stop erasing each other. Every time we erase the history and we erase the contributions of those who have come before us, we're not doing ourselves any favor, because we're always hitting the same plateau. We're always hitting the same ceiling. We need to push through that. And we're only going to push through that if we put our egos in check and we say, okay, this is what happened in, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. How can we make it our own? How can we push past this? How can we make it into those other spaces of Indigenous art that are more mainstream, but still very uniquely Indigenous?